And we are back. Thank you for joining us. This is the INFOWARS Nightly News. Once again, I'm your host, Darren McBreen, and I'm looking forward to this next segment as we have a very special guest with us in studio. And, well, she's no stranger to the Alex Jones Show, as she's appeared on our program several times now. And we salute her opposition, along with Fluoride-Free Austin, and their opposition to protect people from the damaging chemical fluoride that is being dumped into our water supply. She's also an activist on many other fronts as well, and she's now running for city council. And she certainly has my endorsement. Please welcome to the program, Dr. Laura Presley, Ph.D. Laura, it's good to have you back.
Hey, Darren, thank you for having us, and thanks for all you do to help educate all of us on fluoridation and other big issues that are going on.
Well,
thank you.
And we're doing it together, and I have a few items here that I'd like to go over with you. What made you decide to run for city council, for one? You also mentioned off camera that you have concerns about Apple Corporation, and they're expanding their operations here in Austin. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. But first, let's begin with the fluoridation issue. You know, most of our viewers are aware that fluoride science is corporate science, or science for hire, if you will. So tell us what you know about the important individuals and institutions, you know, like the Mellon Institute, or, you know, these various entities who have played a pivotal role in shaping public opinion or public policy, getting people used to the idea of fluoride. How did it all begin?
Fluoridation really started in the 1940s. There were some studies that came out that showed there was a small impact to reducing of cavities with ingested fluoride. And the studies were really supported and funded by the sugar industry back in the 1940s. And so it did show a slight improvement in cavity reduction. But as we know now, we're, 60, 70 years later, and there's a lot of health studies that have shown that thyroid issues, people that are sensitive to hypothyroidism, are impacted with fluoride in their water, even at very small levels. We know that the pineal gland is affected. We know health studies have shown from Harvard, shown that boys are susceptible to cancer at a 5 to 7 times increased rate compared to boys, young boys that have not been exposed to fluoridated tap water. So there's a myriad of health studies that have come out in the last 10 to 15 years that really refutes that old data, 16, 70 years ago.
And even in the last couple of years, the CDC, the American Dental Association, yes, they recommend that, infants don't take fluoridated water, baby formula, that sort of thing. We found a clip, and it's actually taken from the Glenn Beck radio show, and I wanted to share it with our viewers. One of the callers to the Glenn Beck's radio program managed to get past the gatekeepers on the show, and he schools Glenn Beck, in my opinion, on water fluoridation, and Glenn Beck responds by, well, acting in typical Glenn Beck fashion. Let's play that clip real quick.
John in Philadelphia, listening to us on WPHT. You're on the Glenn Beck program.
Glenn, thank you for taking my call, sir. This may seem extremely trivial considering everything that's going on, but it's something that I'm passionate about. I studied and looked at the effects of fluoride in our water. Now, the ADA and the government agencies would have us believe that it's good for our teeth. And with that being said, okay, if it's good for our teeth, that's understandable. Why put it into our water? We drink it. It goes into our body and it accumulates in our body. Drinking fluoride is the equivalent of drinking suntan lotion to prevent from getting a sunburn. I don't understand. If I could get one person in your audience to look up fluoride and to stop using fluoride, I'll be happy. If I could get you to investigate and look into fluoride and what it does and the effects of it, I would be ecstatic.
I don't think I can make you ecstatic. I mean, I just don't think. I mean, good God, man, the world is on fire. You want me to stop and look why we're putting fluoride in our drinking water?
Yeah,
I'll drink buckets of fluoride, man.
Say that again?
You put a straw in a bucket of fluoride. I'll be a happy little sippy cup all day if that's the worst thing we got going for us.
It's not the worst thing we got going for us, but it's the equivalent of mass medication. And I know as you look into different government agencies and over the years, do I think it's a conspiracy? No. I think it was big business that somewhere along the line discovered that they can get rid of what equates to a poison It's not a natural organic. They use the fluoride from the aluminum industry and use that and disperse it into our water.
Look, may I just quote scientific consensus? 9 out of 10 dentists agree.
Yes, pretty naive reaction. We have another clip, though. We're not done. This one's much quicker. This is Keith Olbermann, MSNBC's Keith Olbermann. He makes fun of U.S. Senate candidate Sharon Angle for her opposition on water fluoridation. Let's take a look.
Oh, and Ms. Angle also voted against fluoridizing the water because she thinks the fluoride might be poison. And you thought Orly Tates had lost last night.
So you see what I'm pointing out, I guess these are the stereotypical examples or responses that we've learned to expect from the mainstream media. And I would imagine it's kind of similar to what you're getting from the mayor of Austin and the city council. Am I right? I mean, tell us about some of the run-ins you've had with the city council when it comes to the water fluoridation issue.
Yes, there's a couple of council members that really do understand that the mechanism of fluoridation is topical. And this is why when you go to the dentist and they put the topical fluoride on your teeth and they tell you to spit it out, it's very interesting to me that several council members understand this. But what they're really worried about, and we have presented data to them over the last 3 years, presented chemical data, testimony from experts, PhD chemists, dentists, pharmacists. One of the big pharmacists in town, Bill Swale, he has presented to them that, hey, here we are, you're putting this medication into the tap water and there's no dosage control. A small child and a large man as yourself, Darren, gets the same amount of fluoride in one glass of water, and that makes no intuitive sense, no logical sense to anybody, even some of the council members. But really, there's a reason why they will not get the fluoride out. The CDC is the biggest proponent of fluoridation, and the Austin City Council has about $7 million worth of grants that they receive from the CDC, and I think they're very worried that they will lose those grants if they get the fluoride out, even though they understand, in some cases, the chemistry and the mechanisms and the health issues.
So
that's what we're up against.
So what you're up against is they're representing special interest groups that have a lot of money backed, behind them.
Yes.
And they're not representing the people.
They're not representing the people. And, we even backed up with fluoride for Austin. We said, okay, we don't have the votes on the city council right now to get the fluoride out. So let's put a warning on the water bill to educate.
I remember
educate our
And I thought that was a slam dunk. I thought for sure that would be a slam dunk.
We thought that was very simple. And we just wanted a warning on the water bill. Since infants below 6 months, really parents need to understand that it's not good for children at that age, babies. Their kidneys aren't developed. They cannot filter out the fluoride as we as adults can. We thought that was a slam dunk. They wouldn't even do that. So at that point, we'd been testifying. I'd been testifying on a lot of other topics other than fluoride, and I just got fed up with them. And I said, I'm going to run for city council, and I'm going to run against Mike Martinez in place 2 and make a difference on that council. Well, there's nobody on the city council right now, the Austin City Council, that has a technology background or a business background. So the decisions they're making, they're relying on staff input instead of their own knowledge. And we need somebody with that expertise on the council, and that's what I can do.
That's right. Well, good for you. And
Thank you.
I imagine the campaign's going well.
It's going very
judging
well.
by the bumper stickers, Laura Presley for city council. I've noticed in them. I've got one in my truck too, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
I've also seen the signs, the yard signs, but a Facebook presence.
Yes.
And so you're becoming kind of a local celebrity, and a local Ron Paul, if you will.
That's one thing that because of my background, my business background and my technology background, we are a very strong candidate against this incumbent. And the incumbent has voted against so many issues that the citizens are against what he's done. And so all he can say right now is that she's a Ron Paul supporter, and we can't have one of those in the city council here in Austin. Yeah. And that has infuriated a lot of people in Austin. We have a lot of Ron Paul supporters, and I support Ron Paul. I don't agree with Ron Paul on everything, but his stance is on the unconstitutional wars. His stance is on the NDAA and the bailouts. I am anti-bailout, anti-war, anti-NDAA, and I'm supporting him because of those issues. I don't agree with him on everything, but those are my core beliefs and my core values. But to say that we can't have someone with that kind of belief on the city council, it's an atrocity. We need diverse thought. We need people
Well, that should be a red flag for everyone. You know,
it's a red flag, and that's his only dance move right now is to say we can't have this Ron Paul supporter.
Say thank you for the compliment.
I was like, yeah, thanks for the advertisement.
There you go. Well, okay, let's talk about Apple Computer and their decision to expand operations in Austin, Texas. Tell us what it means to the taxpayers of Austin, because I mean, here's a $100 billion roughly company, and they need money from us. What's going on?
Yes, that's a very good point. So they are a $110 billion cash-rich, cash-in-the-bank company, global corporation, and they've come to the city of Austin and the state of Texas. Texas has given them, Rick Perry has given them $21 million in tax breaks. They came to the city of Austin and said, we want $8.6 million in tax breaks. This is an outrage. Citizens in Austin, and we've said, why are you doing this? This company doesn't need our money. This is corporate welfare. And there are a lot of issues with it. The city council has voted to give them this subsidy because they're bringing 3,600 jobs. We could, over a 10-year period, we could create over 300 jobs per year over the next 10 years if they would invest that money in our small businesses in Austin and not to this global corporation. Yep. So citizens in Austin, we are very, very upset about this. My opponent voted for the subsidy to Apple, and the return on investment calculations that they do to try to show the economic benefit are seriously flawed. I've looked at that. I used to do a bunch of return on investment calculation analysis in my job in the semiconductor industry, and this model's flawed, and we're not really seeing the benefit. We're not going to get the benefit they're saying we're going to get. So we're not happy about it.
Well, good. See, this is exciting because we need someone like you to go in there and stir things up, and it's long overdue. And I'm being motioned that we're kind of short on time. You know, it's a quick interview today, but so I guess we're going to wrap things up. But I just want to say, on behalf on everyone here at InfoWars, the entire crew, it's good to have you in our corner. And I hope people watching across the country will get inspired and do something similar in their communities, like running for local office, you know, running for city council, because, you know, let me tell you something, folks, these type of changes are not going to happen on their own. You have to get up and do something. You have to make the changes yourself. And imagine, you know, what would happen if Lord willing, you know, you were to be, you know, you were elected, and you managed to overturn this, the water being fluoridated in our community. This could very well set the precedent for the rest of the country. I mean, this could be like dominoes. After Austin could be Dallas, and then Houston, and then the rest of the nation, and we could pass that blueprint torch, if you will, onto the rest of the communities. And you know, this could very well be the beginning of the end of water fluoridation in our company. In our country. You've got to believe.
So I think the biggest piece that I can provide on the council is education, and provide the data and provide the information to the other council members, because it takes 4 votes out of 7 council members.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yes, it takes 4 votes. So I can't do it by myself, but education, and also the warning on the water bill is really the first step to educate our community. So that is, that's something that we're going to be looking at. Okay.
Well, like I said, we're running out of time. Any closing comments that you'd like to address before we close out?
Yes. So thank you, Darren, for all you've done for all of us to educate all of us on fluoride, on all the other topics that InfoWars does. So thank you. But I'm running for the city council to make a difference, and there's a lot of things going wrong. The subsidies that we're giving, the technology background that doesn't exist on the city council right now, and we can provide that, and we can provide the business background and ask those hard questions. So thank you for having us, and if people would be interested in donating to our campaign, we need it. It's presleyfораustin.com, and we would love donations. We're going to have a money bomb this week, and so if you guys could start us off, we would love it.
Well, fantastic. All right. Well, it was certainly a pleasure having you on. I'm sure we'll have you back on in the near future. Thanks for coming out.
You're wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. And that just about does it for tonight's show. We will be back, Lord willing, next Monday through Friday, Central Time, 7 o'clock p.m. Central Time. And until then, have a blessed weekend. Don't forget why we celebrate Easter. And we'll see you back on Monday. I'm out.